Hey guys, Cassandra Solano here. I'm a licensed therapist in the state of California and a conscious relationship coach. And I want to talk today about building trust and safety in relationships. This is something that a few people asked about in my Monday nights Q&A that I do on Instagram at 6 p.m. Pacific. And I wanted to talk about this. So whether we are new in relationship and trying to build trust, if there's been time that's gone on in the relationship and we're finding that we're struggling with building trust in the relationship, or maybe there's been some kind of rupture or something that's happened that's caused to be a lack of trust in the relationship. How do we start to trust? Maybe you have been burned and you have a hard time trusting other people, and even though you're dating somebody now that hasn't done anything, you're having a hard time trusting them, or vice versa. So it could be a lot of different scenarios. But ultimately, the key in building trust is to facilitate safety in relationship. Now, when we think of safety, we often think about are we being physically safe? Like, are we, driving the car really fast, or are we hitting or harming somebody on a physical level? And that might not always be the kind of safety that I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is the nonverbal cues and communication around safety and connection. We've all heard that safety is like 80 to 90% nonverbal, or communication is, but how does that come into play and impact our relationships? So it's really important to first understand that we are constantly sending out cues biochemically with our nonverbal language and body language, movement, even our eye contact and our posture can send out pretty strong nonverbal communication skills. And we are constantly sending these signals out to our partner, whether or not we're aware of it. Most of the time we're not. Truthfully, unless I'm sitting in front of a client where I know that I am needing to be very present and aware of myself, I'm not always too aware of my nonverbal things that I'm putting off all the time, because we're human. And in that, sometimes if we're feeling stressed, sometimes if we're feeling like in that fight or flight mode, if we have anxiety, if we have unhealed, untreated trauma from our childhoods, and are kind of walking around in this like activated, sympathetic, or kind of like shut down dorsal vagal, if you've heard of polyvagal theory, kind of like a shutdown or kind of depressed state, though that is sending signals of not safe to our partners. And this is not being said in a way to blame or to say like, oh, if you don't have trust in your relationship, it's your fault. And I'm in no way trying to blame mental illness, or if you have mental illness or unhealed, untreated trauma, to say, oh, this is just your fault and you're just screwing it up and it's all on you. What I am attempting to do is to highlight some of the very real, like scientifically based biological reasons why you might not be feeling safe and connected in your relationship. From you or your partner may not be feeling that. So if we are anxious all the time, or stressed out all the time, or feeling kind of, shut down or kind of depressed or overwhelmed, and we're just like, oh, I'm so tired, and days go by like this, we are not regulated or calm and kind of centered, and we're sending those signals off to our partner, to the people that we live with, that like things are not okay. So even though they might know with their mind, like, oh, my partner, like you, or you might know in your mind, oh, my partner is overwhelmed with work, or, they've got a finals coming up, or there's just something going on, and I can intellectually understand that. Your body, which again receives about 90% of data and information coming in, comes in through something called neuroception, which comes in through the body first, and then it gets filtered up to this brain, which has this operating system that, churns up the information and kind of analyzes it and tries to make sense of it. And based off of your stories, your beliefs, your life experiences, your education, like your culture, like all of that, the raw data gets filtered through and kind of spits out this final report of like what it thinks that this information means, but what the information coming in means and what you think it means may not actually mean the same thing. So if you have questions on that, please let me know. But the point of all that is that your body is very sensitive and very intuitive and so alert and always picking up on vibes, right? Picking up on if other people have increased stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Your body knows it before maybe you even consciously are aware of it, if you ever become consciously aware of it. So if your body is constantly picking up on that your partner is stressed all the time, your body's going to think, this is not a safe environment because I'm with somebody who is under stress all the time. Think about it. Way back in the old days when we all lived in tribes and kind of pre-industrial, how humans live most of humanity. Modern society is like relatively new in like the big picture. We had to have this because if we were out on the hunt or out gathering, we had to sense without even somebody else needing to say something that there was danger, that something was up. Maybe somebody 5 feet away from us would freeze up because they would see a predator, a bear, a saber-toothed tiger, and we had to be able to pick up on that and know it and sense it and be able to respond before, before they could like give away our location to keep us safe. So kind of a tangent, but I say all this hopefully to help you kind of understand that we're wired to pick up on nonverbal communication. When we are constantly picking up on nonverbal communication of like stress, anxiety, depression, hypervigilance, because we or our partner has things that need to be healed and that they need support with, it's going to create this field, this environment of not safe. Because biochemically, it's just, that's kind of like the vibes, right, that are being put into the environment or put into the relationship, and that is being received. So safety is so key to building trust in relationship. Safety, proximity, so being near each other often or as often as possible, and consistency. Consistency is another big thing. Again, it's maybe you don't have to be together every day, but it's knowing when it's going to happen, and that you're not just kind of second choice or, oh, when I get to you, I'll hang out with you kind of thing. So being as near to each other as much as possible or connecting as often as possible and kind of knowing when that's going to happen and having that security. All of these things kind of feed this field of safety and creating safety in your relationship. And I have a client that's been working hard on this, on regulating herself, on taking care of herself, decreasing her anxiety symptoms, and helping her partner to feel more safe. And her partner is actually starting to share more intimately with her things that he's never felt comfortable sharing with her, accessing deeper emotions in himself and fears and insecurities, and speaking to them. And she can really see, because she's created this field of safety in the relationship, because she stopped sending out cues of danger constantly, that it allowed for him to feel safe, for his inner child really to feel safe to come out and be seen and be witnessed. And the communication in that relationship is like on a whole different level. It's really incredible. So if you have any questions on this, don't hesitate to reach out to me. The link is in my bio if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or in my upcoming group program. That's going to be starting January 29th, 2020. If you're watching this after that, sorry you missed it, but get on my email list at cassandrasolano.com to be the first to hear about the next one. And I hope you guys are having a really good day. All right, I love you so much. Take care.